Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. I am your very grateful host, and in studio with me, my friend Lane. What's up, Lane?
Hi, everybody.
Man, it's a great day today.
Great day.
Beautiful Thursday. Let's do this, man. We got so much to talk about. I think the big topic still today, at least interesting in the circles I've been running around, is Dr. Fauci. So we didn't even cover this yesterday, Lane.
No, we didn't. It's explosive. It's big news, big everything.
It's crazy. Everybody else is talking about it. We covered a lot of local stuff yesterday. Maybe we'll talk some more local today. Maybe not. Who knows? This stuff with Dr. Fauci is kind of crazy. And, he invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times?
Yeah, they say it was either 111 or 121.
That's crazy.
It's kind of been debated on how much.
Is it crazy? I don't know. I mean, it's the environment that we live in today. It's the environment we live in today, and everything's so lawfare, everything's so legal beagle. But then again, we could say all that. We can't give the guy. You can't get a pass necessarily. I mean, it's not as extreme as some folks say, and it's more extreme than a lot of other folks say. Where do we find ourselves? So more than 100 times he refused to answer some questions. Rand Paul, who is a medical doctor, and of course Dr. Fauci was up there talking about COVID, COVID-19. Rand Paul, he argued that Biden's pardon eliminated Fauci's Fifth Amendment protection for covered conduct. That's very important, very interesting as well. Josh Hawley, so when Fauci comes over here and he talks about his Fifth Amendment, all these things, then he talks, Rand Paul brings up his pardon. Josh Hawley brings up a case, Brown versus Walker. It's an 1896 case, okay? And it says pardon witnesses generally cannot invoke the Fifth Amendment's protection for pardon offenses. Did you see that part?
I heard it mention the case, but I haven't looked too much into it since then.
Yeah, so that is it's a case. It's cited late 1800s, and it basically said, generally speaking, you can't invoke the Fifth Amendment for a pardon offense. Pardon offense pardon essentially says it's as if it never happened. You're okay. You can't plead the Fifth to something that's not incriminating, essentially is what the case that Hawley brought up. I don't know about that. It seems like you would have to testify if you've been... Wasn't he given immunity?
Well, he was pardoned. He had a blanket pardon from 2014 all the way to when Biden left office.
Okay.
Which I don't understand why he kept pleading the Fifth, because the whole point of pleading the Fifth is to make sure you don't say something that could incriminate you.
That's right.
But he can't incriminate himself because he's pardoned from 2014 all the way to 2024.
And it's a blanket pardon.
Yes.
Any and all crimes.
Yep.
I guess what from a pure legal standpoint, like straight legal, not communication, not PR, not politics, not anything like that, just straight legal. Yeah, it made sense. I mean, it's, you don't... Here's what I would say if I was advising purely as a lawyer to a client, not anything else. Well, if you say something, it probably wouldn't hurt you. It probably wouldn't. But it could, and because it could, you shouldn't. Because not saying anything, while it may hurt you from a PR standpoint, you can't get hurt by something you don't say. So that's probably why his legal team was saying, just plead the Fifth. And then it goes into, and Fauci probably also feared some kind of perjury trap. Oh, really? You said this now? Yeah, you're not going to get convicted for it because you have a pardon, but you're saying this conflicting testimony, and perhaps that's a perjury situation. So maybe that's the angle they were looking at. Now, it got a little heated, Lane, whenever Fauci's attorney wanted to sit right by him and then started interjecting. Am I correct?
Yeah, but he started running his mouth, and as Rand Paul said, If you were to do this in a courthouse, you would be arrested. You're lucky to be in the halls of the Senate where you just get kicked out. And he kept running his mouth and he got kicked out.
Yeah, to the lawyer. Maybe you haven't done these before. Maybe you have. Maybe. Look, like I said, the first time I went to a mayor's court. Remember I told you about that, or night court. Is this real? So I asked around. I asked people who's done it before. I asked old lawyers. Called the mayor's office, clerk, whatever. Maybe this attorney should have read or watched other Senate hearings. When, attorney, have you seen examples where the attorney speaks and not the person? When have you seen there be an argument presented to committee hearings they don't care? This ain't a court of law. He's right about that. He is right about that. I mean, what was that lawyer trying to say?
I don't know what he was trying to say, but Rand Paul told him that he'd told him already to go sit back. He didn't move and stop talking, and he kept doing it. And he deserved to get kicked out.
So he physically removed him, or
no? They physically removed him after he kept talking. They got security to come bring him
out. Golly, I wonder if we have certain rules as lawyers. You were supposed to do the right thing even when no one's looking. Well, there's a whole bunch of people looking right there. I mean, come on. It's not. You may have a right to act the what, but you don't have a right to be a lawyer, and that's pretty interesting. So Paul, Rand Paul. I mean, he didn't play around. He announced. I think the committee's voting next week, if I'm not mistaken, on holding Fauci in contempt. What would Fauci be in contempt of court for? Not answering?
I think so. I don't know all the legal terms when it comes to this case.
Yeah. I mean, contempt referral would still require additional congressional action, additional DOJ action before any kind of like prosecution, of course. But Fauci continues to deny wrongdoing. He denies misleading Congress or the public. Now, what's up with this diary thing?
Ooh, this diary is hot. So he goes on his federal computer and he opens up a diary entry, which is silly because they can.
Why would you do that?
No, for real. There's no privacy on this computer. The federal government can see it all. So Rand Paul went through it and started releasing pieces of it. Well, the problem is that these pieces kept contradicting his public statements at the time. So he would write in his diary, a mask is not necessary. Then he would go on news and say everyone needs to be masked up in the same day.
In the same day?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Because I do know it changed. I mean, hey, I was in during COVID. I mean, it was rough, man. You got all this. It was new. It's novel. You got all this new information coming in. You don't know what to do. I know what Trump would do, what we would do when we were in office. We would go like 2 weeks out. What's the science say for 2 weeks? What's the information say? But we weren't. I mean, dude. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, we were thankfully to the other folks in charge. When we opened up our parish, we didn't subscribe to the John Bel Edwards approach. No offense to the former governor, but Fauci, man, like Trump was saying, if it was up to that dude, man, he would shut everybody down. It was easy when you got that big of a very nice 6-figure salary each year. What does he make? Like $400,000, $300,000?
I don't know.
Something like that. It's up there. Well, he's retired now.
Yeah.
Probably got a book deal.
He definitely got a book deal. And there was also talk about him making a bunch of money on the job illegally. And that's a huge issue, too.
What did he do?
So, Fauci, he had 8 people in his office that were filing for him to win awards and came with cash prizes. He was making a bunch of money.
Really?
Off of awards that people in his office were applying for.
And he gets some cash?
Yep.
What? Come on.
I know, it's crazy.
And how do you get a cash reward as a public official?
It's illegal. That's the problem. That he was doing this all illegally. He never told anybody. The only people that knew were the 8 people that were applying for all these jobs.
So Fauci had some grant writers, basically.
Pretty much.
He had some grant writers that should be writing grants, but instead they were writing Fauci grants.
Exactly.
Some prize. Give me that cash. Man, that's crazy. So, very interesting. We'll take us a tiny little break. When we get back, let's wrap a bow on this topic. So much more. A lot of things going on. Don't think we'll be able to finish everything in 2 hours, but we sure are going to try. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, shout out to my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Dr. Kevin, man, great guy. I love Wellness Wednesday yesterday. Did such a wonderful job. I always learn from him. Man, I want you to feel better. I want you guys to feel better. Feel better, feel better. I love it. I go to Dr. Kevin. He's helped me, my wife, so many of my friends too, growing and growing, strangers now. Man, just go check it out. Nothing wrong. Look, we love all the things, but maybe there's a complement to the medical routine that you have. Maybe there's a way to treat the actual symptoms and cure from the inside out, and not just take a pill and put a Band-Aid on it. So go check out Dr. Kevin. It's so easy too, by the way. It's so easy to do what he asks you to do, and you feel so much better. Like, you'll wake up one day and you say, okay, that's why I've been doing that. Got it. 983-CARE, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Lane, we're talking about Dr. Fauci. I don't understand how the heck this guy... I don't understand the mentality. I mean, his diary was something. So we were talking about, before the break, that... So Dr. Fauci basically goes on his federal computer and starts a diary. Now, maybe some of you folks out there do diaries or notes or journals. That's cool. That's cool. I just, I didn't think that was a thing anymore.
No, I would say it's still a pretty common thing.
People do that? Okay.
It's mostly little girls that write diaries. Some guys journal a little bit, which is good. It's good to journal and look back at your thoughts. But I don't think it's the best idea to have a diary entry on your federal computer that you have no privacy with. Most little girls get a pink little diary with a fancy little locket on it and put it in their sock drawer. He goes in his federal computer, types some diary entries up that had a lot of incriminating stuff in it.
Well, the whole, I'm the most famous person in the world type stuff. I'm like, what? I mean, I don't want to... I mean, everybody has their inner thoughts.
Yes.
Everybody has their inner thoughts. Everybody battles things, whether we think it's a battle or not. Everybody goes through things, and I get it. And it's very easy to nitpick through somebody's most vulnerable, things. In this case, a journal entry or diary or whatnot. It's just, your boy wrote it on a federal computer. That means you have to take the time to type. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like this was just a therapy note where or I'm just jotting. I'm just jotting down what I'm thinking. No, this is like purposefully done and thought out. You had to stop what you're doing, open it up. Maybe he was keeping it just to, I could somewhat understand. I looked for the emergency manual whenever the pandemic came in, just to see if anybody's ever gone through this kind of stuff before on a local level. I kind of figured the answer, no. So we would literally write down kind of, what we did, what was a success, what was not a success, so that if future administrations needed some guidance, we at least had, at least provided that for future administrations. So maybe Dr. Fauci, I thought maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe it was just to kind of, well, if this ever happens again, we could consolidate all this and get the best practices. But that's not, Rand Paul and other members, they brought up, it was like a lot. It was and a lot of personal stuff.
Supposedly he was writing this so he had something to look at whenever he wrote his book. He thought he was becoming so famous that he was going to write a book as we a bestseller, and he just needed to have a good log of everything that happened in the past few years.
So you put on your federal computer.
I know.
That's pretty good. So you use taxpayer resources.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing public when you're on a taxpayer dime or taxpayer time.
He was not thinking. Well, let's just say that. Let's be nice. He wasn't thinking.
What do you mean? This guy's been around for a long time. You know, I was watching some news or I was watching the media last night. Okay, and even on CNN there was a panel and they were talking about Dr. Fauci and all this stuff and maybe it wasn't Dr. Fauci, maybe it wasn't the science community, maybe it was how the science community communicated. And I thought, okay, because I try to find where's the fairness, where's objectively, why are you saying the things you're saying? That's what I kind of want to know, you know. And there was some reasonable defense of him saying that, well, it was novel, and in science you do the best you can with the information you have, and you're constantly changing. Totally fair. That's fine. Then explain that. Explain that during the time. But what we got was, don't wear a mask because you're taking away from the PPE from the people that need it. Personal protective equipment, gloves, masks, things like that. That was the message for a while. Then it was, we went from that to wear 5 masks. And I don't understand it. I mean, I do understand it. I just don't understand why the arrogance. Why sit there on your high horse, say one thing one day, and the next day say a completely different thing, and then call us ignorant baboons, basically, obstructionists, for just asking a question? What else was in his diary that you know?
Oh, just him constantly bragging about how famous he was becoming and how he was just the best. I don't think people would have as big of a problem with Fauci if he didn't have such a big ego. He didn't think he was the superhero that was here to save us.
Man, like, what's up with that? I mean, can we term limit bureaucrats sometimes?
I really wish we could. I think we've given too much power to unelected bureaucrats. And I think the idea was to give the experts power. But in reality, it just took power away from the people.
Yep.
And I think we really need to go back and really rethink a lot of those decisions we made in making a bureaucracy at the federal level.
Well, of course, absolutely. You know, on this COVID situation, a lot of people trusted Dr. Fauci. A lot of people trusted his recommendations and how he got to his recommendations. We didn't always see that, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of things like Trump, for example, when he came out. When COVID came out, Trump acted. I mean, Trump shut down some things. Trump pushed the vaccine. Trump Operation Warp Speed, all that stuff. And it's real easy for the pundits right now to blame everything in Biden's years on Trump. But Trump did do what the science community, at least last night on the CNN panel, I forgot which, like 10:30 at night. Regardless, Trump. Yeah, he moved quick, but he maneuvered quick too. He changed course very quick. When the data came back differently, he did different things. That's what I was referring to earlier. That's okay. You know, but to pretend you didn't say it is one thing. That's what Fauci and them would do. And then 2, to double down. And then 3, call us all these names and treat us so badly, us being at least half the country, at least maybe a little bit more, for just asking the questions. We didn't even start the name calling yet at that point. But we'll take us a tiny little break. We get back. Let's wrap up a bow on this one, my dear buddy. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, shout out to my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Dr. Kevin, man, great guy. I love Wellness Wednesday yesterday. Did such a wonderful job. I always learn from him. Man, I want you to feel better. I want you guys to feel better. Feel better, feel better. I love it. I go to Dr. Kevin. He's helped me, my wife, so many of my friends too, growing and growing, strangers now. Man, just go check it out. Nothing wrong. Look, we love all the things, you know. But maybe there's a complement to the medical routine that you have. Maybe there's a way to treat the actual symptoms and cure from the inside out, and not just, you know, take a pill and put a Band-Aid on it. So go check out Dr. Kevin. It's so easy too, by the way. It's so easy to do what he asks you to do, and you feel so much better. Like, you wake up one day and you say, okay, that's why I've been doing that. Got it. 983-CARE, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Lane, we're talking about Dr. Fauci. I don't understand how the heck this guy... I don't understand the mentality. I mean, his diary was something. So we were talking about, before the break, that... So Dr. Fauci basically goes on his federal computer and starts a diary. Now, maybe some of you folks out there do diaries or notes or journals. That's cool. That's cool. I just, I didn't think that was a thing anymore.
No, I would say it's still a pretty common thing.
People do that? Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasted from the KPL Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go check us out at rumble.com. Shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. We certainly appreciate you guys. Man, go visit my friends at Giles Volvo. You see the Volvos all over town. You see the luxury vehicle of a Volvo. You want the Volvo experience, but you want the Giles experience as well. And you can combine them both at Giles Volvo here in Lafayette. Go get that excellent customer service from Giles Volvo. Get yourself a much luxury car at a very affordable price. Go visit Giles Volvo here in Lafayette, Louisiana. You know, a lot of folks, I was talking the other day, we didn't even know we had a Volvo dealership. Yeah, we got one. And it's a good one. Giles Volvo right here in Lafayette. They said, I heard you on the radio talking about that. I didn't even know we had. Well, good.
Go ahead and go look.
Go ahead and go look. It's there, Giles Volvo. All right, guys. And we'll have, I think, Bob coming in tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So I always like when he comes in. All right, let's talk about, let's switch gears a little bit, Lane. Let's talk politics a little bit. You know, why not? We have midterm elections coming up. very curious to see how this whole Dr. Fauci thing plays in all that. Is it going to remind some folks? Is it going to motivate people to go vote? Is it going to motivate people to stay home saying it doesn't matter? They do whatever they want anyway.
I hope it pushes people to the polls because you're watching this hearing and you basically hear all the Democrats covering for Fauci, all taking his side.
I did see that, and it's like, guys, y'all can't just ask objective questions.
Yeah, and Fauci objectively made really poor decisions in his role at the CDC. No question about it.
I think it was just arrogant decisions.
Very
Very like, it's total, like, made almost either ignorant or arrogant or both. And the reason I say that, it views, excuse me, from our viewpoint, it looks like somebody that literally has a very small bubble in his life, which, I get it, I do too, but doesn't leave that bubble. And that bubble is like in a cubicle, although I figure he has a better nice office than that. A better office than that. But, I think that's kind of the issue there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he doesn't get out enough to really understand the outside perspectives. He's only worried about the perspective that are in his close circle, which causes problems.
Or maybe himself. Maybe does his journal ever have conversations with himself? Does he talk to himself?
That's a good question. I don't really know.
Because my grandmother always said it's okay to talk to yourself. It's just if you answer, that's when it gets a little crazy.
That's what my mom says too.
Really? Okay, so it wasn't just Grandma Rose.
No.
It was, okay, so just straight up. All right, I got you. So that's a thing.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about these midterms. This is gonna be neat because this will be the first midterm after all these now lawful gerrymandered. We have lawfully gerrymandered, not gerrymandered districts. Basically, since the politics have entered the census, we now use the census to it's no longer make sure that we have a proportionate anything. It's what legislature has the majority, which party has the majority in the legislature of each state, and then just go draw out 100% districts. That's why I said in Louisiana, I mean, I get it. We went back to 5-1 in the House. We went from 4-2 Republican Democrat. We're going to go back to 5-1, which is better than 4-2. Okay, I appreciate the legislature, appreciate everybody that was involved in that. My opinion was that we should go 6-0, 100% Republican, and it's not. I don't think that's the mature way to do it. I want to clarify that. I don't think that's necessarily even the grown-up way to do it. I'm just saying that's the battlefield. The battlefield in these congressional district maps now is no longer geography or does it make sense at all. It's a national fight. That's what it is. Maybe we'll grow up. Maybe we'll get past that in 10 years, 10 or 20 years. You're going to have at least another census go through, maybe another one after that, just to show that we've learned and we don't just use it to lawfully gerrymander an entire state. But that's what we're doing. That's what the states are doing now. It's different. I would say it's wrong, but maybe in time we won't be wrong. Maybe in time this is the silver bullet. I doubt it. I doubt it seriously. But I just, I never, I get it now. I get why we do this now. It's all politics. In the past, I would try to rationalize, well, why don't we just geographically make sense, divide it up, let people go to the ballots and figure it out? It ain't like that. That was novel as recent as, or that was a fair and objective idea as recent as maybe 4 years ago. But now it's a different ball game. Now it's stack the house, baby. Stack it. And look, that is what it is.
Yeah. It's a really tough thing because there's, in Louisiana, for example, when they drew this 4-2 map, it looked really weird because there was a huge snake running through the middle of our state. The Democrat population is only really centered in New Orleans, and then it's split between Baton Rouge, Shreveport, and these little communities that go through 49. It doesn't make sense to draw a huge snake through the middle of the state to put these little bubbles of Democrats together. It just doesn't make much sense. Now they argue that Louisiana votes 40% Democrat, but when you look at a map, you cannot center these Democrats into two cleanly drawn districts.
Well, here's the deal, right? And you're so right. But right now, let's not pretend, okay? Let's not pretend. Here's some truth, and we know this now because of Supreme Court cases. Now, very recent, one coming out of Louisiana, Calais. All right. So one truth is, you can do whatever you want, legislature, pretty much. If you want to do, well, you just can't define it on race. So if you want to draw it 6-0 Republican, you can. So that's a fact. So it goes to the second thing. Why don't you want to? Well, that's a choice. Okay, so one is a fact. The other one is also a fact that you have a choice. And the legislature chose to go back to 5-1 instead of making it 6-0. I get it. It's all wheel and deal and stuff. I'm just saying, why? Why? The only thing I hear is, well, we have to account for Orleans, and there's just, like you said, there's a lot of Democrats there. Next, like Ariana Grande. Thank you, next. Thank you, next. What is your point? So what? There's a lot of Democrat, big deal. There's a lot of Republicans in the state, and you just drew a map with 2 Democrat districts. So what? What deal are you getting? Why? You know, to me, if you want to give Orleans representation, try something different. Make it where they have a Republican congressman. Maybe they'll get something done. No offense to Troy Carter. The few times I've met him, very nice gentleman. Very nice. Cleo and I are friends. I mean, I disagree with him a lot of times, and I definitely don't agree with the gerrymandered map, but he knows that. We can still disagree and be friends. It's okay. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. He's the only one I wasn't mad at. Out of that whole Lane, out of that whole create Cleo a district deal, he's the only one I wasn't really mad at. Because how are you going to blame him? He wants to be in Congress, and he's just
using the system to his advantage. You can't be mad at him. You should be mad at the people that drew the map in the first place.
And even then, if we give him a pass, well, hey, let's talk about this when we get back. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Guys, you may be recovering from a surgery. You may have had a hospital stay. Maybe you're going to need, you know what, actually, let's get ahead of it. Maybe you're going to need a hospital stay. Or your parents, or your kids, or your friends. Who knows? You got a choice sometimes. Actually, a lot of times, you got a lot of choices, okay? You can choose to recover in the hospital, or you can choose to recover at home. Clearly, you want to recover from home if you can. Try my friends at Audubon Home Health. Audubon Home Health. If you got to recover from an operation, you got to recover, ordinarily in a hospital, but maybe you could do it at home, call Audubon Home Health. Right here in Lafayette, Louisiana, servicing Acadiana and beyond, by the way. Call them, Audubon Home Health. Get that recovery from home, a place where you're in comfort. All right, guys, let's stay on this topic about Fauci. If I talk about Fauci some more, I might have to call Audubon Home Health. All right, so it's. I wonder if they help. Do they help put your mind at ease? Maybe it's a little more serious than that. But we were talking about the midterms and the Senate race, and then we started talking about congressional districts, gerrymandering, what's lawful gerrymandering, what's not lawful gerrymandering. The Supreme Court finally got in and said, guys, y'all can't make race the deal. You can't fight racism with racism. This is not 2026. This is not 1966. Let's get it together. So, Supreme Court ruled that way. Now we go into Louisiana and other states, and we were just suggesting, and we have a district. We have a district map. It's going to stay that way at least till the next census, I would imagine. But we went from a 5-1, 5 Republican, 1 Democrat seat to 4-2 to now back to 5-1. I'm happy. I'm not upset. Well, I mean, I'm curious, but curious in this regard. Why didn't we go 6-0? I mean, you could easily, if you want to point out some possible hypocrisy on me, I did fuss Virginia. They went 10-1, but they violated their own Supreme Court. Their own Supreme Court said they violated their own process with notice and all that stuff. They didn't go to a vote of the people. They ramrodded it through. They did that for a reason, because they wouldn't have passed the regular process. So the Supreme Court of Virginia had to step in. Quite different. That's a situation where you have legislators that are belonging to one party that doesn't necessarily replicate the values and views of the entire state or the electorate. Virginia is kind of like that. Pennsylvania sometimes can be like that. So it's not what we usually see in Louisiana. It's not usually what other states necessarily get. It is truly a purple state. It could go red, it could go blue. I think it's probably because of all them DC carryovers that go live in Virginia. You know I'm right.
No, that's 100% what it is. That is why Virginia stays blue. You look at a map of Virginia, it's North Virginia.
Yeah, it's so true.
Blue, 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 blue. Arlington used to be part of DC, and they ended up giving it back to Virginia, full of people that live in DC. Whenever Doge came in and cut a bunch of jobs, they said the reason why Virginia was going to go blue was because so many people lost their jobs in Virginia. They were all backing Abigail Spanberger because they wanted a job in Virginia. They thought she would provide more state jobs.
Golly, man. Beat Virginia. There's a song. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to Louisiana. So and guys, phone lines are not open today. Ordinarily, we'd have them open at this time. So appreciate you guys lending your ear and maybe talk to us through the speakers. You never know. We may hear you. Lane's got very special gifts. He may.
I'll figure it out.
I love it. All right. Let's go to the U.S. Senate race in Louisiana. We have the two major nominees. You have Julia Letlow on the Republican side. You have Jamie Davis on the Democrat side. Who else is running? They got some independents?
I don't think so. I think it's just them two.
Just them two?
Yeah. There might be like some.
There's got to be some stragglers. Yeah, there's got to be an independent. Libertarians got to put one up. Libertarian Party has to put one up. I want to hear what they got to say. What's the Libertarian Party got to say today in Louisiana? You know, there's a lot of aspects of libertarian beliefs that I love. You know, as far as on the social stuff, I think a lot of us listening and watching right now may very well have some libertarian views. Basically, on the social stuff, government. You know, I mean, what are you doing? Why are you telling me how to pray? Why are you telling me what to do in my personal life outside of regulating conduct that affects other folks? That's perfectly fair game. What's going on with that? That's what a lot of folks are asking, you know? But I do want to go to this race. Man, Lane, what do you think? You think that Julia Letlow's gaining some ground on some of these John Fleming voters?
I think she's moving in the right direction, but there's a lot of room to improve.
Yes. It's July. Yeah. It's not Labor Day yet. Labor Day seems to wake up the election cycle. You know, you kind of get through summer, school starts, Labor Day's that 3-day weekend. Then it's like, we have an election.
And she has plenty of things to talk about. I've got in contact with her campaign that I think they need to push real hard on some issues.
You've contacted their campaign?
Yes.
You gave them some advice?
I did give them some advice.
I love that.
Whenever you have the Democrat candidate saying that abortion's health care in one of the most pro-life states in the entire country, there's a huge problem and an easy opportunity to hit back on that.
Even John Bel Edwards, you got to give him credit. You have to give John Bel Edwards credit on this. He signed in the anti-abortion law.
Yep.
And we protect life, I think, the most out of any state. If not, it's hard, man, to think. How could you be more pro-life than we are? It's illegal, Period. There is no exceptions.
And not just that, but we have some of the greatest pregnancy centers that we could have in our state.
Yes.
Phenomenal pregnancy centers that takes care of the women, the children, the families, helps everyone in the community.
Oh man, you ain't kidding. And we're very blessed here in Lafayette for sure to have that, and so many other people do as well in their communities. But this is going to be very very. It's going to be a very unique race in that aspect. I want to in an aspect of how does when we beat ourselves up so much, how do we recover? Here's my observation. In the past, we had David Vitter, and John Bell. Well, in the runoff or in the primary, David Vitter got his tail just crushed by his fellow Republicans. Okay, and we saw what happened. Then we had Ralph Abraham and Eddie Rispone. And Rispone, his camp just torpedoed Abraham. He had to win the primary, or he had to get in the runoff to have a shot, and he got in the runoff. But Abraham supporters were just like, no, I'm good. I mean, most of them went out and voted for Eddie, of course. I voted for Ralph the first time. I voted for Eddie, obviously in the runoff. I don't know who I voted for the first time with Vitter. I got him in the runoff for sure. I just don't understand. Yeah, I don't get it on this. But regardless, coming here, the difference is in the old system, you'd have a primary and then you'd have a runoff within a month. So there was not a lot of time to heal. Yeah. I think now I haven't heard much on Julia Letlow since the primary, and that's probably by design, and that's probably good because time will heal a lot of stuff. And a lot of John Fleming voters need to have that time to recover, man. That was a crappy race. That was horrible what we saw. Those ads against two Republicans was just despicable. But we're here. And like I said before Julia Letlow even formally announced, because we had the formal announcement by the president the day before, that was fun. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
But I think I said it before. I stand by it. If Julia Letlow wins, I'm high fiving. If John Fleming would have won, I was high fiving, because both of those will be a much more consistent Republican vote and conservative vote than what we have now. And I think you get the conservative vote, or the Republican vote at least, without all the questions, without having to worry about, is one of our senators going to be acting like that? So I don't think you have to ask that. So, all right, we'll carry this over to hour number 2, guys. Stick around. We'll be right back. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Lane and I still hanging out over here, having some fun with you. We certainly appreciate you being with us, man. We have so much to talk about. We were talking about the Louisiana U.S. Senate, or the U.S. Senate race in Louisiana. We also have these congressional races too, so very curious to see how that all pans out. The 5th Congressional District was starting to shape up to be very, I'm going to say stretched geographically. Before when we had the 5-1 seat, or no, when we had the 4-2 seats, or excuse me, when we had the recent 5-1 maps, okay, you had Senator Miguez, my buddy Blake Miguez, who had wanted to run for Julia Letlow's seat. He started off in the U.S. Senate, then he gets out, he gets endorsed by Trump to run for Letlow's seat in the 5th Congressional District. That kind of, when we went back to the drawing board, got some new maps, that kind of fizzled out, I guess, I don't know. Curious to see. I don't think Garrett Graves gets back in. Maybe he does. That his district is basically the one that they took out. It's not not directly overlaid exactly, but his district is the one that pretty much got the boot. I have not heard rumblings of him jumping back in, so we'll see. We'll keep our eye out. There is a legislator up north Louisiana. I know that does not help us, but there is one in that race that seems to be doing pretty well. He's from that actual district, lives in that district. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Also in the House, we have some announcements. I think about a week or two ago, Cleo Fields is announcing he's not going to run for the congressional district. So right now, Cleo Fields, Democrat, has a district. Troy Corder, Democrat out of the Orleans area, he has a district. You have two Democrats in our delegation with the 5-1 instead of 4-2 districts, 5 Republican to 1 Democrat. You had a little battle brewing between Cleo Fields and Troy Corder that could have brewed. It did not. It does make sense. I can see why Cleo Fields would not hand over, but defer the seat to Troy Corder because the seat is primarily the current seat that Troy Corder already represents or holds. So, getting voters, it might be hard to switch over some Troy Corder voters to Cleo Fields. Not that they don't like Cleo Fields, they're already used to voting for Troy Corder. So we'll have Mr. Carter continue to run for his seat. So he'll run for that one district, that one Democrat district, Southeast Louisiana. And then you have Cleo Fields, who will then run for state senate again. He has gone back and forth a couple times. It seems like every time Cleo gets in the House, something happens with the districts. I think that's what happened the last time. I could be wrong. But this time for sure. So we'll see. Maybe they'll draw him again and he'll go back. He's served two-year terms. I think you have to be in 5 years to have some kind of vetting with the retirement. I don't quote me on that. But if it's true, then he just needs one more. One more. Maybe he goes when Troy Carter retires. Maybe Cleo goes and does it. Who knows, my friends? Who knows? But this U.S. Senate race, guys, this is no kidding. I understand. You know, we can be upset on how the Republican primary went. We can be very down on the constant attacks on John Fleming, who's a wonderful dude, great guy. You know, is that we can be upset over that. But what we can't do, my fellow Republicans, we can't hand Schumer a seat, okay? We cannot get, even if you don't like Julia Letlow, even if you don't like what happened, even if you don't like how she got there, we have a choice, her or Schumer. That's it. Whether it's Jamie Davis or whoever, her or Schumer. That's it. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. If you look at Jamie Davis's platform, it's very clear that he is not a moderate Democrat. And he's as progressive as they come. He has a moderate facade. He's a farmer. He's a business owner. He's a gun owner. But let's be really clear. You read his gun policy, and he's for red flag laws. He's for liberal gun policy. He says he's pro 2A, but let's be clear.
Pro 2A? You got the whole red flag thing, like you said.
Supporting red flag laws. He wants more background checks, even though if you go to purchase a gun, you know it's not an easy process.
Man, I've helped a lot of people in my practice. I mean, I love this area of law, the Constitution, the Second Amendment. But I've helped a lot of folks in my practice navigate through ATF, and I'll use Congressman Higgins' terms, those alphabet agencies. He's right. Right when you think you got all the alphabet agencies down, I'm gonna give props to my friend Congressman Higgins next time I see him on that, because it's more prevalent now than I think it ever. It's getting better with Trump, but without the Congress getting in here and writing into law, the next guy or gal could come in and just redo it. So it's maybe not. Some administrations get in and they take the credit of all the good. So maybe that would motivate the next people to just keep it and just take the credit, but just keep the policy. Most people would be okay with that. I would be okay with it. That's why, down the street, just go do the projects. You know, the ones that were canceled just because of politics, just because my name was on it, that hurt people in Lafayette. And so just go do it. I don't care who gets the credit.
Yeah, in the end, we just want our community better. It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter who gets the credit as long as the community is getting better.
No one's gonna remember the mayor, president. Like no one's gonna remember who did all the drainage work. They just remember that their house once flooded and now it doesn't. No one's gonna remember Brown Park who did it. They're gonna say this is a nice park. These folks care about their community, and look at this little economic boom. It could be. We're shopping at the dollar store here. We don't understand the concepts, but most people do. But like Lane said, we just want the community to get better because people will remember the community. People will feel the people. The politicians there for I'm telling you, just in there for a snapshot. Even if you do maxed out terms, it's the product that matters. It's not the power that matters. It's the product. It's what does it do for the folks? But that is a different mindset, man. You still got people, and it's a trap, man. Power when you're in power, and you don't know until you're in. Heavy is the head who wears the crown, and you never know until you're in. But you'll make choices. It will make you make choices. You're either going to choose the elites in the institution, or you're going to choose the people. You're either going to choose to use the power that you have to help folks, or you're going to choose to use the power you have just to grow more power. Which, what's the point of having power if you're not going to help people? Let's think about that. Let's think about it. I mean, just the fear, just from the politics of it. You're there. I mean, if you help folks, chances are, they'll be happy. Chances are, not always, I promise, but that's okay.
Yeah, lies deceive. Let's not forget that. Lies deceive a lot.
Oh God,
especially in politics.
Well, you are right about that. And man, we do a closed primary in Louisiana for like 5 seats, five offices, and we really should do closed primaries on every election. And if you want to compromise, you're like, oh, we can't do that in Gaydon. That's going to be too expensive or whatnot. Maybe so. But can we at least compromise on cities with more than 100,000 people, or parishes with more than 100,000 people? Because that is definitely affordable. And don't you think? I think it would help a lot. I think it would help with healing. I know that sounds crazy, but look at this situation with Julia Letlow and John Fleming. She's wise to just be quiet right now. Let things sit. Go build your infrastructure. Meet with your folks one-off that you need to meet with. Maybe some really big John Fleming supporters that are just really upset that you need to go and maybe hash it out with. See if you can clear the air. Sometimes you just can't. Most of the times you can. That's probably what's going on right now. I would imagine. I hope so, because we're going to need that. And if you care about keeping a majority in the Senate, and think about what we're dealing with. We have a majority in the Senate right now, and we can't even pass the Save America Act. So handing Chuck Schumer another seat, I don't care if we don't like Julie Letlow. I'm telling you, I met the lady. I've worked with her. She's a very nice lady. I don't know the ins and outs. I worked with my Congressman Higgins, way more than her, and he's a wonderful, wonderful public servant. And shout out to his staff, specifically his field team here in Louisiana. I deal with those guys more than the DC staff, of course, but just really, really great guys. But Julia Letlow too, man. Even if you don't care for her too much, dude, I'm telling you, you don't want Schumer. You don't want Schumer. Not voting is just like voting for Jamie Davis and just like voting for Chuck Schumer. I'm sure Jamie Davis is a great guy. He says he's 2A. I'm getting my hand arm signals. All right, we got a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Happy anniversary to indoor recreation. 35 years, Lane. 35 years. Man, you know you have a good business when you are in that industry and you've been around 35 years. Indoor recreation, man, go check them out. Right off Collie Saloon, right off of Louis the 14th. You can't miss it. If you're looking for that game room swag, if you're looking to build a game room, or you just want something cool to hang up in the office or hang up at the house, you want a pool table, you want foosball, you want darts, you name it. They got it over there at Indoor Recreation. They even install the pool tables. They'll go and repair the pool tables. They'll refurbish the pool tables. And Jonathan, my friend, I didn't know there were that many types of pool tables. That's pretty amazing. Go visit my friends Indoor Recreation. You want to know where your kids are? Build a game room and build it from Indoor Recreation. I might need to go talk to Jonathan Lane about building like maybe something to make me feel better if we don't have two Republican senators at the end of this Senate election. I still hear rumblings of some Republicans just really upset. They don't think they can bring themselves to vote. They don't know if they can go vote for the Democrat, but they just don't feel like they can even vote for any of them. I understand. And in the past, I've felt that way. And I might feel that way too right now. But I have to, and I'm asking you to do what I'm doing. And that is just looking at the big picture. We don't have the luxury anymore, guys, of just, having leeway sometimes. Right now, this is sad, but it is a Republican-Democrat vote on this. I never thought I would be the one saying that because I'm usually, while I'm very deeply rooted in my philosophy, I don't like labels. I like to find common ground because I would tell you right now, you could put the most liberal, left-wing, I'm talking about left-wing person right next to me and I will find some common ground. And you can too, and you probably do in your everyday life. If only we could do that in politics, especially at the local level. That's why local level, there should never be any tiffs. There should never be any personal vendettas. It's too real to have that. The government is too intertwined where it should be at the local level to do that. So Lane, anything on this U.S. Senate race that catches your eye? You think Julia Letlow is going to have any issues?
I really hope she wins. I really hope, because we cannot have a Democrat elected in the state of Louisiana. We cannot give Schumer another vote. If you look at Jimmy Davis's policies, he's not just liberal. He's not just on the left. He's a progressive Democrat with a moderate facade. He's not going to bring business. He's not going to support our Second Amendment. He's not going to support life. He's not going to support the values of Louisiana. And I think that's very clear. And I think we just need to fight and make sure that Julia Letlow gets elected to the United States Senate.
Yeah, I agree. And if you don't want to say it like that, vote for the Republican. I'm telling you, like, look, this is just where we're at. This is just maybe the next Senate election, maybe the climate will change. Maybe we will have gotten past this little phase in our development. 250 years, still going strong.
Yep.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so let's, you got anything else on the Senate race? Anything else in Louisiana?
I think it's the campaign, Julia Lettlow's campaign is being smart by being quiet, but also at the same time, you need to be quiet and also show you're doing the work behind the scenes. And I feel like that's what's not being done. Where it feels like her campaign's being a little lazy, when in reality, they're probably doing a lot of work behind the scenes and we just don't know about it.
So we don't. And as we're saying this, I know my phone's gonna blow up. At least, hopefully, it does. By one person over there in Julia's camp that's been keeping me posted. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of good things going on over there. I believe she's doing the work that needs to be done. If I were her, I would go to all the major supporters with reason, because you can. If you wait like if somebody does that after maybe 2 months of being in office, if you don't do that the first 2 or 3 months you're in office, it's going to be disingenuous. Like anybody in office right now that went and tried to do that and go and meet with the opponent's supporters, it would be disingenuous. But right off of a primary, that's different. That's different. right off the primary when you're still in the game, you're still in the fight. Go talk to those folks. Worst case scenario, they say, yeah, we didn't support you then, we're not supporting you now. At least you know they're telling the truth.
Yeah, and then what you should do is one of the first things I learned about Louisiana politics is you know who gets you elected? The Republican women clubs.
That's right, my Republican
That
women.
is who gets you elected. So what you should do, you should go to all the clubs in Louisiana.
Yes.
And they help campaign for her.
But you gotta be but you gotta be. These ladies see through rhinos.
They do.
They see through Republicans in name only. They see through it like crazy. Trust me, we have one here in Lafayette. We have two great groups, one rhino.
You have to be ready to answer questions. You can't be scared to answer questions. These women are smart. They're bright. They're like grandmas, but whenever you're wrong, they tell you.
By the way, they have younger folks too.
They're grandmas and mamas.
Go visit Acadiana Republican women or Florida Lee Republican women here in Lafayette, Southwest Republican women in Calcasieu. Go look at St. Landry Parish. Shout out to Craig and all his friends over there at the RPEC in St. Landry. They are creating a women's group as well. So now you'll have a St. Landry group as well. That is fantastic. You know who's going to be over there? Elbert Guillory.
Oh, exactly.
He may be the first speaker. You never know.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me at all.
Albert, be the first speaker.
That would not surprise me at all. Well, speaking of Florida Lee and Acadiana Republican women, they have a meeting August 12th. Clay Higgins is going to speak to the Florida Lee Republican women. And August 19th, Clay Higgins is going to speak to the Acadiana Republican women.
So if you want to hear Clay Higgins, you go to both of these organizations. I probably will be at both. What a wonderful... You making it? You've been making them.
I'm going to the Acadiana Republican women. I don't know if I can go to the Florida Lee. I'm trying to go. I just need to work out some plans.
Do you have to show a fake ID to get in?
No, they let you in.
They let you in. That's
the
good.
Ladies are nice. The last time I went, the lady that was at the door paid for me. She said, "I'm so happy to see you here. You can come for free."
Oh
so
my
nice.
gosh, that is awesome. And by the way, if you're going to the Acadiana Republican women, they are very good at keeping your little card, your little eating card, if you know what I'm talking about. Look, maybe somebody held on to their card once. Maybe they held on to it twice and accidentally went to the office with it and still returned it back to Miss Connie. That's who you're referring to. And and maybe they have not let me forget it, even though it was 7 years ago.
Every time they have to bring it up. That's funny.
Now, Josh, are you going to remember this card? Yes.
Miss Connie's so nice.
You get the card, you put it in the basket. It's easy. It's a great system.
It is an amazing system.
All my ARW ladies, they're laughing right now. I know it. Definitely. All right, I appreciate it. Hey, look, but really, you don't have to be a woman. You don't even have to identify as a woman. You could just roll up in there. They won't even ask you what your gender is. And we're very inclusive. You see? You see? So go check them out. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Go visit my friends at Giles Volvo. Look, you want that luxury feel, you want that luxury car, but at a very great affordable rate and a very, very great customer service-oriented dealership. Go visit Giles Volvo. Giles Volvo. Here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Go visit them online, Giles Volvo. Go look at all the selections, too. You know, it's... I didn't know much about the Volvos until I became friends with Bob, to be honest with you. Maybe I notice it more because of our friendship. But I'm very taken back by all the gadgets and gizmos in those things, man. It is sweet. Go check it out. Volvo, Giles Volvo specifically. And if you like that kind of stuff and you want like a real comfortable ride, man, they got old school stuff too. Go check them out. Giles Volvo here in Lafayette, Louisiana. I love it. Lane, let's switch gears, shall we?
Sure.
I mean, we might go back to the politics of Louisiana, which may be right on the topic. Did you see? Let's talk about aliens, but not the illegal aliens. Like E.T. Have you ever seen E.T. the movie?
I have seen E.T. I really like E.T.
E.T. Phone Home, you know, with the little finger
Yeah.
going up. Yeah, there you go. Riding bikes at the night, Drew Barrymore.
Very good movie.
Yeah, man, I like that. That kind of E.T. So you may know, you may not know, the president released a lot of UFO footage. Did you see that back a couple months ago?
I've heard about it, but I haven't looked too much into it.
It's not earth shattering. It's not out of this world. Get it? There are some though. Of course, I get my information from my barber at the barber shop, and I'm telling you. And he was bringing up. He pulled up some of the videos. There are certain definitely unidentified flying objects in these videos. I don't know, man. You think we're alone? You think there's aliens out there?
I really don't know. Like, that's one of those things that I've thought a lot about, but I really just don't have a clear answer on. When I was younger, I was completely convinced that there were aliens, but as I've gotten older, I just become more skeptical to it, and I really don't know.
Wow. See, I was opposite. There's no aliens, we're only humans. And now I'm thinking, I'm looking out and about, I'm seeing all these stars, and these stars presumably have solar systems all around them. And these are just what we can see. And I would imagine that there has to be some kind of circumstances on one of these orbiting rocks, just like Pluto orbits our sun in our solar system lane. I would imagine that the conditions have to be somewhat similar to breed life. I think there's 4 planets, if I'm not mistaken, that we've identified. I know there's at least one, but I think it's 4 that could possibly, or that do have similar conditions to Earth, like with an atmosphere and stuff. I'm not saying there's life, proven life, or there's a balance that would support life, but it seems like that it would be odd for us not, with God creating such a vast creation, it would be, it's like, why would he not? It's hard to imagine that he wouldn't, but I'm not God, and I've never seen an alien, and it doesn't matter, and we don't have to have that answer to be saved, which is wonderful.
But a good question is why would they find us? That's always been my question. Why would they come to us? And why would they be smarter than us or able to travel that far?
Well, maybe they're more advanced. Maybe they're here before us. I don't know.
Well, what would make them more advanced? That's the big question I've always wondered. Because if the universe is ever expanding, and we're at the center, the sun is at the center of the universe, and we expand to our solar system, wouldn't the other planets be made after us?
Some.
Yeah.
There's some being made right now.
There's some being made right now, but I don't know if those aliens would then be advanced.
We don't know.
And that's the question.
But there's some assumptions there. There's assumption that chronology matters. So there's an assumption there. There's a whole bunch of assumptions. More advanced or whatnot. I don't know. And then, are they looking for us, or did they stumble on us? That's a different thing too.
That's a good question.
My dad would always tell me, well, if there's aliens out there, they must be nice because they would have destroyed us by now. And that was pretty good. They must be nice because if they weren't, they'd destroy us by now. That was pretty good. That was pretty good, Pop. It's, who knows? That's the thing. Who knows? But what I would like to know is why we can't balance the national budget. And I've always said, until the aliens come out of the White House and tell us why we can't balance the budget, I'm not going to understand it. I'm not going to understand why we can't build the I-10 bridge in Baton Rouge and Lake Charles and the connector and do I-20 work in North Louisiana. I don't understand. If we're just printing money, why not just print money and send it to us? Why do we have to send it to study transgender male menstrual cycles in North Africa through U.S. aid? Can't make it up, by the way. So, what is that all about? Now, don't know, Lane, but we're going to take us a little break. When we get back, I'll ask you another question that might make you think a little bit. You ready?
Yes.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the Cape Bell Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Shout out to Stan's Auto. Man, I called a message Sterling over there at Stan's Auto. I said, hey, man, anything you got going on that you want me to highlight for the folks? Any kind of specials or anything like that? And in typical Sterling style over there at Stan's Auto, he said, can you just, we're so blessed. I should read it. We're so blessed. Can you just tell all the customers thank you? So, from Sterling over there at Stan's Auto, okay, off of Johnson Street here in Lafayette by Reds, off of Admiral Doyle in New Iberia, go visit them for all your automobile needs. Stan's Auto. We were talking about a whole bunch of stuff. We were talking about politics, and then we were talking about something that made a little bit more sense, like aliens. And and we were just kind of visiting. So I'm going to throw a term out there. I don't know much about this. So all of our wonderful pastors or priests or whoever, or biblical scholars, wish our phone lines were open. Maybe tomorrow you can call. Call tomorrow. Call tomorrow. I want to hear you. Read us about the firmament.
The firmament.
The firmament. If you read Genesis in the Bible, read us about the firmament. I think it's chapter 3. I don't know. I can't remember. Talk to me.
The firmament in Genesis is the dome-like structure created by God on the second day of creation to separate the waters above from the waters below. It is translated from Hebrew, the Hebrew word rakaya, which means an expanse or stretched out surface.
So basically a dome, a globe. Now we don't know all that stuff, okay? I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means like a spiritual wall, where you can't go. I don't know. I don't know that. Is space really ever expanding as we've been taught? Because I was taught by the science community that Pluto was a planet. So I'm just saying, don't be telling me about the solar system and the universe if you can't get your planets right. Anywho, poor Pluto. But, maybe it's expanding within the firmament. I don't know. But it's very interesting. I never really put much thought to that after reading Genesis several times. I never put much thought to that until my wife did about 6 months ago. And she's like, well, what about the firmament? What are you talking about? I didn't even know what it was. And I'd read Genesis plenty of times. It's like, here, it is right here. And so we're reading it. And I don't know. Also understand when Genesis was written, 3,500 years ago? Something like that? God gives Moses all this wisdom, all this knowledge, all this information. And then he's told to go tell these Hebrews, these Jews that are leaving Egypt in the wilderness out there. And there's some pretty harsh conditions. And he's got to explain things like how the earth was created. Well, in the first phase, God created light. Boom. There you go. The science and the teachings of the Bible don't necessarily always conflict. Matter of fact, look at the Big Bang Theory and look at the creation message in Genesis. Tracks pretty well, if you ask me. Replace the word day with phase. On the first phase, on the second phase. Perhaps that would matter. Because, see, we calculate time as humans. And we measure things. Where God is always present. And there is no, this time thing, he just exists. There's no, we measure that. Okay?
I actually 100% agree with that. That's a really, really good analysis. Because what a lot of atheists will bring up is there's no way the earth was made in 7 days. But you have to think, the days is something that humans view time as.
Yes.
And God could have said a day is, who knows how long? It could have been years. He can move time. So
God's already in
He
tomorrow.
could have just clicked fast forward and he just made it go by faster.
Who knows?
Who knows? We don't know. The thing is, we're not God. We don't know what God intends. We don't know what God does.
But I do know that God the Father sent God the Son, who
Exactly.
literally rose from the dead within 3 days. So, yeah, I think he could do whatever he wants. He conquered
100%.
death, But that's it's an interesting way of looking at it. If you look at the firmament, All right, Jamie Guillory got me on this topic. And you look at science, you look at the space situation. I don't know.
Yeah, they talked about that on the Joe Rogan podcast when J.D. Vance went on.
All right.
They're talking about aliens and if they existed, and J.D. Vance said he doesn't really know, and he thinks it might be demons.
Okay.
Which is an interesting take, and I've thought about that, and I really don't know because
So J.D. Vance said that UFOs may be demons or aliens may be
aliens may be demons.
Okay.
And that we might just see them as UFOs. A UFO doesn't necessarily mean a spaceship. It means an unidentified
Did he say
flying...
aliens were demons or Democrats?
No, I don't think J.D. Vance would call Democrats demons, but he called aliens demons.
Oh, okay. All right. Just curious.
Yeah.
Would Trump call Democrats demons?
That's a good question.
That would be a child's play on some of the things he says.
That is accurate. I don't know.
J.D. Vance, that would be a lot. Trump, that would be nothing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
You got two pretty polar opposite people, by the way.
Yeah.
As far as their demeanor.
Which
you got
is
J.D.
good.
Vance. Oh, J.D. Vance, so calm, cool, collected. Very much a senator. Very much a traditional United States, keep it cool and calm, keep it to the facts, very methodical United States senator.
Which I think goes back to his childhood. He always saw emotional highs and lows as negative because he had such a rocky childhood that he always tries to stay calm and collected because that's how he views a stable society and a stable life is that when everything stays calm, no yelling, no crying, just be very calm and collected.
All right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, J.D. Vance. And he is calm and collected, you know? You need that. That's really good. And you got Trump that's just wrecking ball over there.
Yeah, which is good because we need a wrecking ball into the swamp. And I wish he would dismantle the swamp a little more, but the swamp is very swampy and it's hard to deal with sometimes.
It is. And that's such a good point. So he goes in there and he look, you can't necessarily blow it up like you said. I think he found that out. But you can change the trajectory. A president at that level, yeah, you'll have some, just monumental things that'll happen periodically. But for the most part, you want to change that trajectory. When Reagan came in, he changed the trajectory. He didn't do everything perfect, but he changed that trajectory of American pride, for one thing, but also government dependency, less regulatory infringement on the private sector. He didn't eliminate everything, but he changed the mindset. He changed the trajectory a little bit. Then you had a Herbert Walker Bush come on and do pretty much the same thing. And then Clinton, for the most part, did not change much. But I was about to say where he did change some. Doggone, we ran out of time because there's definitely some things he did different than Reagan, okay? Anywho, guys, that's all the time we have. Man, thank you guys for joining us. Be careful out there. May God bless you.